This is the story of how a normal 17-year-old teenager beat the shit out of a 100-year-old gay vampire. From giving head to Jonathan to sucking Joseph dry, Dio came a long way, and Jotaro is adamant about defeating him in order for his mother to survive, so that he can go and call her a bitch. With how decisive Jotaro was and how gay Dio was, it was less of a fight and more of a conversion therapy.
This can't be happening to me!
To give you some recap, defeating Dio is the only thing left to do in order to complete their journey. Sadly, Avdul and Iggy are not with us anymore because, stuff happened. If the Crusaders are unable to stop Dio, Jotaro will lose his mother, Joseph will lose his daughter, and Kakyoin will have to make new friends who got hot moms. Time is ticking and Holy is on her final breath, and guess who came to her aid? It's none other than Polnareff. It's Suzy Q, who knows that Joseph is trying his best to save Holy's life.
50年も一緒に生活した夫だし、期待を裏切られたことはただの一度としてありません。
To tackle Dio, the group had to split off because Polnareff was acting like a bitch and refused to retreat and wanted to fight Dio head on because he felt responsible for Avdul and Iggy's death and told Joseph that there is no way he's gonna run away, and then proceeds to run away. To which Joseph is like, don't worry, he's French, he'll soon be back with a baguette. Right after this, Dio makes his grand entrance 100 years later, and now looks like the love child of Goku and Superman. He even got a cape and everything, like a hero. I mean, who is the Seigi no Mikata, if not Dio? He's actually the good guy here. He stays away in his castle without disturbing anybody, walks flamboyantly, thus being pro-LGBT Uri, gives politicians what they deserve, and rebels against capitalism by destroying oppressive industrial equipment, not to mention indirectly making Italy drug-free. Then he goes around and casually gets into the senator's car and notices a cavity under his tooth. Being the nice guy he is, helps the senator out by giving him a dental extraction. In return, the senator gives him a ride and starts following a truck driven by Joseph and Kakyoin. They were successful in fending off Dio while he was stuck in traffic. Not wider than your mom. Kakyoin runs away from Dio by using his stand, riding Hierophant to green, still a dream for many middle-class boys. Kakyoin is a MILF hunter, and since Dio is a vamp, he had to hunt him. Now, things are getting interesting because he has trapped Dio in a web of his stand, which makes it difficult for him to move. And Kakyoin shows no mercy and does the good old Emerald Splash, which is impossible to deflect. Obviously, Dio is immobilized, and if he doesn't do anything fast, the Emerald Splash will completely destroy him inside out. In that moment, Dio was cornered and was forced to invent the ability of stopping time in order to barely survive the Emerald Splash. And we all know what happens next.
Die, Kakyoin!
Dio punches him through the gut and blasts him away into a water tank, thus killing our green boy. Good thing he didn't wear yellow. I'm glad I don't have to say yellow boy. It would have been hella racist towards people with jaundice. What, you thought I was gonna make fun of Asians? Come on, it's 2023. Leave the Ching Chong people alone. After which, Dio and Joseph do a little Spider-Man chase, only for Dio to end up stabbing his neck, all while Jotaro was right in front of him, watching him die. And now Jotaro is mad because Dio called him a hoe. And he starts approaching him with this insane look in his eyes, and now we will be witnessing one of the most iconic fights in all of anime. A 100-year-old time-stopping vampire versus a literal Chad. Jotaro is such a Chad, he coughs up blood without even opening his mouth. He is such a Chad, he wears 2 belts in order to support those massive balls of steel. He is such a Chad that he takes one look at Dio's stand and is like, this is Dio's stand, known as the World. While Star Platinum looks like Jonathan's ghost, the World looks like a rich person's toilet. However, the World is thicker than a chocolate milkshake in Antarctica. Then they start flying by consecutively farting to propel themselves. Who knows where they learned that? Both of them engage in a masculine fight and then exchange blows. But Jotaro can barely move while time is stopped, so he makes Dio think that he cannot move. So Dio lowered his guard and got close. And friends, you all know about the Joestar custom of fingering other men, right? Jotaro, being the prodigy Joestar successor, takes it a step further and starts fisting Dio.
Damn it!
thus also getting revenge for Kakyoin. However, since Dio is a vampire, he survives even with a hole in his stomach and a dismembered leg. And no matter how different Dio is, there is one thing common between the Joestars and Dio. They are easy to understand analogies.
Fetch me my leg. Imagine you're a flight attendant bringing caviar to a passenger in first class. It felt like somebody shoving an icicle up my ass.
So now Jotaro is fucked because he knows that he can only move for an instance during stop time, and Dio, being Dio, throws knives at him. And you all should just be grateful that I'm not showing you the 1990s OVA adaptation, because... Like, for fuck's sake, in this scene, instead of a knife, there is literally a fish. Dio is a Bengali confirmed. After time resumes, the knives pierce every part of Jotaro's body and he falls onto the ground and is presumed dead. And just to be sure, Dio pulls out a stop sign and proceeds to slice his neck in half, just when suddenly Polnareff emerges from behind Dio and impales him with a baguette. Sadly, it didn't work out and he gets thrown into a wall. Polnareff, being French, lost yet another battle. Against Dio, Polnareff was as useful as the letter I in Dio. To prevent Dio from killing Koichi, Jotaro moves a finger, which makes Dio shit his pants. I don't blame him though. Anyone would be shit scared of the deadly star finger. To make sure Jotaro's dead, Dio listens to his heartbeat. And in order to look dead, Jotaro stops his own heart from beating. That's exactly what I do when I tell my girlfriend who I'm cheating on that my heart only beats for her. What can I say? I'm an honest man. And just when Dio was confident that Jotaro is dead, he gets closer and tries to close the deal. And at that very moment, Star Platinum emerges and punches Dio in the head hard enough for his skull to shatter and blow him away. Now Dio is completely messed up and starts acting like me after the best nut of my life. Then Jotaro oils him up and proceeds to light him on fire. However, Dio takes an Uber and eventually ends up at exactly the same spot he killed Joseph. Now shit gets real because Dio becomes this all-powerful ultimate version of himself by applying some green lipstick. And at that very moment, he strikes a realization that every time he jerks off, he's giving a handy to Jonathan. Jotaro is furious as fuck because nobody disrespects his grandfather's corpse. So in order to get back at him and make things even, he says some pretty insensitive stuff to him. So, I heard your mom is wider than the sidewalk. Dio got mad at this comment because nobody abuses his mother except his drunk father that beat her to death. So my man stopped time, disappeared and came back with a freaking road roller, dumped it on Jotaro and started elbowing that shit. At this moment, all the odds were stacked against Jotaro and he totally got crushed under the mammoth of the heavy 20-ton metal. Or so we thought, because just when Dio started time, Jotaro stopped it and got behind him to give him a piece of his mind. Look, I'm sorry man, your mom is not wider than the sidewalk. Thank you, because she's dead, unlike my mom. Now Dio is down and cornered and Jotaro is all set to beat the non-living shit out of him. But then suddenly George Joestar appears out of thin air and is like, what are you doing? Fighting between boys is inevitable. But to beat somebody when he is down? You've been a bad boy, Jotaro. And then proceeds to adopt Dio and raise a healthy vampire out of him. Despite Dio's cheap tricks, Jotaro ultimately defeats him.
What the hell?
But this is not where the story ends, because out of all the powers we witnessed throughout the journey, Speedwagon got the best of it, the eternal ability of capitalism. With Speedwagon Foundation's medical expertise and Jotaro's ability to touch people's hearts, Joseph is resurrected from the dead. Then they finally put Dio's body under the sun for it to turn into ash and dust away into oblivion. A threat to humanity was abolished. Holy's health got better. Jotaro surpassed his own previous self to reach new heights, and Joseph finally did justice to his grandfather Jonathan, although the loss they faced was perpetual as well. As much as I make fun of this series, it's very close to my heart. I truly love and adore it. I mean, look at how thick. If you are interested in a twisted summary of how this whole journey came about, check this video out.